Many believers open their Bibles hoping for clarity, only to find themselves completely lost. They read the book of Revelation or map out God's grand design, staring at the pages as the pieces simply refuse to fit together. Turning to a local pastor for quick answers often leaves those deeper questions unresolved. And when you dive straight into complex prophetic texts without a solid base, you end up spiritually paralyzed, unable to move forward. There is a structured way out of this confusion. Apostle Ranjith Ophir authored a precise sequence of 8 inspired texts known as the Plan Books. These books operate as a strict academic curriculum. You have to climb them in exact chronological order. If you try to leap straight to the advanced texts, the entire framework collapses. Attempting to decode the Bible without this prerequisite framework is like taking a high school calculus exam before passing basic arithmetic. Skipping those lower grades guarantees severe misinterpretation. Step 1 begins with a text called Yugantham, or the end of the present age. Before you do anything else, you have to confront the immediate threat of the Antichrist and the timeline of the final days. Once you internalize this specific chronology, it converts the dense symbolism of the Book of Revelation into a readable map. With the timeline secured, Step 2 forces you to examine the author of that timeline. The second book, Knowledge of the Holy God, explores the triune nature of the Creator. That leads directly to the theological tension addressed in Book 3, God's universal plan. If God is entirely holy, why was Satan created? And exactly how did cosmic evil originate? You cannot fight a war if you don't know where the enemy came from. Mastering the origins of evil anchors a believer's mind for the spiritual warfare happening right now. Equipped with that history, Step 4 is Simhanadam, or Roar of the Lion. It outlines the absolute necessity of a bold, uncompromising prophetic voice to proclaim these truths in the modern era. Book 5, Mahima Prapancham, The World of Glory, reveals the scale of the afterlife. It pulls your focus away from earthly battles and maps out the hidden, vast dimensions of the spiritual realm. But you cannot stay in the clouds. Book 6, That Lampstand, forces your perspective back down to the physical, earthly institution of the church. This text establishes strict boundaries. It maps out the exact spiritual hierarchy and the operational roles required to run the church, specifically defining the lanes for apostles, prophets, and pastors. A functional believer must carry both realities. True spiritual authority comes from balancing a profound vision of heavenly glory with strict, practical submission to local church structure. Step 7, Universal History, acts as the grand synthesis. It takes every lesson from the previous 6 steps and slots them perfectly into a single macro timeline of the cosmos. Finally, you reach Step 8, the Standard Word. In this masterclass, the most complex scriptures and prophecies snap into place, forming a single, coherent statement of truth. But this clarity will not occur in isolation. This level of interpretation is impossible if you haven't laid the foundational concrete of the first 7 texts. When you complete this sequence, you are no longer just memorizing Bible verses, you are actively interpreting the universal laws of God. Apostle Ophir makes a very specific promise about this curriculum. Once you consume this 8-book sequence, grasping the ultimate truth becomes as effortless as peeling a banana. You stop wandering blindly through a dark, confusing forest. With this structural framework installed in your mind, theological confusion simply evaporates. Every believer needs this holistic vision to navigate the close of the current age. It serves as a mandatory spiritual survival guide. The instructions are strict. Do not skip ahead. Begin your study immediately with Book 1, Yugantham, which you can access right now through the Amazon Kindle app or directly from Ophir Publications. This level of enlightenment comes through following the engineered steps of this master plan.